Hello YouTube, welcome to a Sunday in the shop. You get a sneak preview of the John Deere 70 project. Sorry I don't have the hood on it. I'd have to get in the big shop and bring it out. But I will insert a picture after this video clip so you can see what it looked like with the original wheels. So there you go, just a real quick one. And we're off to the shop. It is 38 degrees in the shade and it's probably about 40 out here in the sun. So it could hit about upper 40s today. I don't think it'll hit 50, so stay tuned for more. Okay, we've had about enough tires and wheels for the week. And that little mini tire changer, which I bent the bolt in it and had to straighten it. Here's what we had for sockets. We got some new ones. Cheap brand. This would not stay on the ratchet. And it's got your button where you press it to release it. I mean, this is what I was working with. So, no, you know, this ain't my excuse why I need new sockets, but it's the reason why I got new sockets. These are like $11.99. 20% coupon. One was a little over $9.50. One set. So, 12 bucks and 12 bucks. Might not be able to see it on here. Just show you some odd brands I have. Here's a bench top. CRV, probably, you know, the whatever your chrome, vanadium, whatever, made in Taiwan. Here is a Popular Mechanics. Excuse my dirty hands. It was a mess to get them back wheels on. One of them I had to file the keyway. It wouldn't go on the key. This is an old Napa. 7/16. Old Napa socket. And this cheapy set I had even had oddballs like 15 30 seconds and like 13 30 seconds. Pretty wore out. Some car starters, the nut holds the wiring is oddball, like on a General Motors starter, like 11 30 seconds. So there is some oddballs there. So these will go down in my junk tool drawer in case I need an oddball size. Okay, we'll pause and we'll show you the new ones. Okay, here's the new ones. Y'all probably figure out where I got them at. It's one of the top, more of the top brands are carrying Harbor Freight now. And I don't get paid. I always put it in the videos. I don't get paid. These are a bear to get off here. You got to take a screwdriver. Once you take them on off a couple times, it's not real bad. Some of these I've chopped this part off, and even this part, they fit my toolbox a little better. We're going to pick one here. This is 3/4. These are standard red. Your metric has blue. And I have a set of Allen wrenches, I think, that are color coded like that. But, here's why I like 12-point sockets. You know, you might be working on a motor and it's hard to get the ratchet down in there, and you get a six points are nicer. They don't round off as easy, but you might be in a spot where you can just barely get that socket on there. You know, 6-point, you're going to be turning it quite a ways. But if you look at these, see how they don't just grab the corners. And I have some older sockets that way. I don't have an example of a 12-point 3/4 bolt, so I grab it. You kind of get the idea. They do grab a little bit on the sides there, you know, just around the corner of the bolt. So you'd have to have a pretty nasty worn out bolt before the socket would strip. Even with these cheap ones, but upside down here. But they're not bad for the price. Pretty easy to read. I'd say way better than the Pittsburgh brand, but I do have the Pittsburgh brand in metric and standard deep well. I have 1/4 inch metric and standard in deep well. So this was all I needed was to complete my set of getting new tools. And this has taken several years on and off too, since I got my toolbox. If you've been subbing me for quite a few years, way back when I got my new toolbox, and that was a deal too. $80 for the box, $50 for the bottom at a Home Depot. So I've been pretty thrifty buying tools over the years. And I don't normally buy a tool that I'm not going to use. The only tool I've ever bought I haven't really used yet is whatever, 4-pound, 32-ounce or whatever tuna. I don't know. It's like no, it's a 40-ounce ball peen hammer. I was gonna use it to hammer some tin out. I still really haven't used it. So that's about the only thing I can think off the top of my head that I don't use. So there you go on that. Enough of the sockets. I said I'm not selling them, so I'm not gonna promote them too much. I like to share what I find because somebody else might want some cheap sockets. Look how hard it is to put on there. And this is a good set for the price. Like I said, 12 bucks, got a 20% coupon. I think it was like $9.59 or something, some odd number. Yeah, you can do the math, but there you go. Well, let's go off to something different today. Okay, my hammer fell apart the other day, and I know which way the handle goes on here because this is sharper here. This is more round when I hold it in my hand. One of these ways it feels, I might be backwards. I might be wrong. I think it might go this way. Of course, I know the top and the bottom because the handle only goes in there. I was using to tap the rim back on, trying to hit the outside of the hub and not mash anything or hit the axle. Well, I hit the axle once, so I had to take the Dremel to it. And I also took the Dremel to that rim when I put it on this morning, and it would not go on with the keyway. So part of the problem with me getting it off having to use a puller on that one on the hardest side was I think it's catching in the keyway slot. So I will file that out so it slides on smooth as butter, and it'll be never seize on them. They'll never stick. But we got a failure here. I'm out there and the head would come off and I'd whomp it down on the mower and I'd crack this open again. So I'm going to drill this once I find some wooden dowel, and I will put some wooden dowel in here and glue it. And I will use super glue again. It's better than wood glue to me. It soaks in the wood quicker. So I will probably put some pins in here because I want to keep this original handle. This was at the junk shop. You remember back when I went to the junk shop? We got a failure on this thing. Look at the cheapy wedge made out of some cheap wood. It's not walnut. So we got to make a new wedge. We're gonna get the metal wedge out of it. This time we're gonna epoxy it on there. We're not gonna mess around. We've done it before. We've got our 2-part epoxy, but we're gonna use a cheapy Harbor Freight junk because I've used it before. So we'll be making a new wedge today, getting the metal wedge out, epoxy this thing on here, and we might not get to fixing this today, but we're at least going to get this thing back into service because it's like a 2-pound hammer. You don't have to swing it. I mean, I don't swing it hard as I can. I wasn't bashing the wheel like a maniac. I mean, I was just using the heaviness of the hammer, you know, to hit on it. And then when I had the puller on there, cranking down the puller, I had my ratchet on there, I would hit the head of the puller because it's rounded over. You can smack them pullers with a hammer because they chamfer, whatever you want to say. I like saying chamfer. Somebody's going to go off on me. Whatever country they say chamfer. I think it's Australia, maybe the UK. Maybe somebody out there knows. What country says chamfer? Like chaps. You know, cowboys wear those leather chaps on their pants. An old guy was chewing at another guy on TV one day. They're not chaps, they're shaps. Remember the old TV show, if you're an old guy like me? High Chaparral. It wasn't High Chaparral. So, there. I stand corrected. They're shaps. Chamfer. There. I'm going to stick by it. I'm going to stick by it. I'm not going to fight anybody over it. I'm too old to fight. Anyway, so you send in the shop, I don't have to act professional. I can act up. So let's get that out of there. We have drilled on big wedges and drilled and actually tapped and pulled the wedge out. I don't think it's going to be that hard to get out of there. So, we'll be back. We'll share our progress. We're going to make something a little bit better on here. I can tell the top of this because I never could get that damage out of there. Nice hammer. And like I said, it's got shellac on here so it won't rust. So we'll give you a kind of a look. I'm almost forced. We'll give you kind of a look what it looks like now. If you can see that. And we're going to do some redo here. So stay tuned. We don't want this to be a real long video just on this part because I might want to include something else there. So we'll pause, we'll fix on this, and then we'll be back. Okay, without cracking the handle too much back here, we drove a nail and got this wedge to pop up a little bit, get the vice grips on it. Hung my flag on my door. That's the proper way on the wall. It's supposed to be vertical. I'm not going to fight over it. I know the rules. No, there's people argue about that all the time. I'm not disrespecting it. It's hanging on my door. It might get rained on. It's an outdoor flag. Let's see what happens. Wow, right on camera. Said we're going to epoxy the you-know-what out of this. And we're going to make a bigger wedge, too. We're going to drive a wedge in there that's so hard to drive in there that it's not coming apart when I'm done. We're going to get a wedge made. We're going to put epoxy on everything. And when we put it on, we're going to drive the wedge with the epoxy. We're not messing around. This is work hammer. We need it. John Henry needs a new hammer. You know who that is? Think about it. Steel driving man. Well, see if you can guess right in the comments who John Henry is. Some of you youngsters might not know. Stay tuned. Okay, this is a little $5 pocket folding saw I got out of Fleet and Farm. See where I'm widening that slot in there? See, you can see where it's wider. See that? Like that. So we get a bigger wedge. That way it's going to push out more. I think you get the idea. Yeah, not bad. This looks like $5. Got a little release button there to lock it. You can carry this in your pocket. I probably showed it in a video. Stay tuned. Quit showing tools. Get to work. Okay, we just spent an hour whittling this out with a pocket knife. No, we didn't. We're lying. We took a sander flapper disc. 4.5 inch grinder. You can see a little bit of burn on it, but it's getting close. Always work with plenty of stock, just like when you're machining something in a lathe. Give me something to hang on to and work with. Then I'll saw it off at the proper length. So, just another quick tip there. Free, commercial free tip. Getting close. We're going to saw it off and we'll get ready to pound it in the hammer. Okay, it's bright in here. The windows sunny out, plus that bright LED 4-foot light above me. By sawing that slot out, I was able to pound the head on further. So we got a little more into the heftier. We're going to let that epoxy cure for a while. And then we'll grind that off. And then we'll put the metal wedge in it. And to not lose the metal wedge, we were smart and we left it in the vice grips. I don't like using a metal wedge on an axe or anything because you could be out in the forest and lose your axe head. Your axe head could come loose. You could repair it out in the middle of the woods. It's not easy to get a metal wedge out. I mean, if the head come off, you're just dealing with carving some wood out, making a wedge. So that's my advice. Don't put that in anything metal like in an axe or something that you're going to be out in living in the woods forever. No access to any Dremel tools or easy outs or anything like that. Like I said, I have used an easy out on one time. Not easy out, tap. I drilled and tapped it, and then had a hold of the tap and kind of put it in the vise and kind of kept yanking on it. So, yeah, a tap, not an easy out. There's that cheap epoxy I might have been talking about the other day when I was showing the good stuff. I'm just tired of using that messy stuff. And no matter what you do, it'll end up dripping out of the bottom. After you've used it, it gets too hot in here. It'll want to, and I always suck the syringe back to put air at the top. It's all right for what you use it for, but for hobby use and more precise stuff, I'm going to use that stuff I bought back there. This is just for junk like this. Stuff like this, nothing's junk. Okay, stay tuned. We'll get this done. Then we'll think maybe one more little thing before we leave you this week. Okay, we're done. Sorry if the fan makes fan noise. I mean, it's warm in here. I need some fresh air. I got the wedge off a little bit. I just had it in the vice grips and slammed it with the hammer once and got it started. So we're going to spray some new paint on here, mask it off, and cover that all up. So that's it for that. We got one more thing we're going to show you before we go this week. We're going to show you the back tires that came off the John Deere 70 and a set of snowblower tires. Both radiants are going to be great for a go-kart project. So I just want to show them to you and see what you think. Because I didn't like the tread pattern on the mower. Just looked too off-road aggressive. I want more easier on the grass when I'm tearing around if I ever get that project done. There's a better angle. Quit getting it blurry. Right there. There's the money shot. Okay, it's pretty bright here. We want to show you these tires. These are the old ones off the John Deere 70. They're 18 by 8.5 wide on 8-inch rim. And here's the pattern. You've all probably seen it. Great for an off-road go-kart, okay? These were, and I measured them once when they was aired up. These are probably maybe 17 inches diameter, okay? Now, to this one, these came up with snowblower. The guy said they was wore down. So he put new ones on. I asked if I could have them. Sure. Well, they look good enough for me. These say 4.8/4 on an 8-inch rim. This is what I guessed. They're 4 inches this way, okay? And then 4.8 this way. I like car tires that get confused. When I was a kid, car tires had different measurements. So there you go. There's the pattern on those. We'll put them side-by-side ones. I think that would be too bad on an off-road go-kart. I mean, you wouldn't care if it matched. You'd be happy you had a go-kart to ride. So these would dig in pretty good. You know, even on the street, because these kind of hump up a little bit when you air them way up. You know, they get that curve like I showed you on my new ones. So they're getting put up on the shelf. Who knows what I'll find, but they're both 8-inch rim, so you wouldn't be looking for no oddball rims for the front and back. You'd have 8-inch all the way around, and I know a couple companies where I can buy those rims pretty reasonable. So we'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching this week, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Sunday.